I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Marv B, and you are tuned in to another episode of the Man Listen Show. Before we get started, let's hear a few words from our sponsors.
DD's Daiquiris is your #1 supplier of premium daiquiri mixes. You will love the taste of our classic margarita and signature strawberry mixes. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at DD's Daiquiris. DD is spelled DEEDEE. You can also find us at www.dd'sdaiquiris.com. DD's Daiquiris, giving good vibes to good people, one good drink at a time.
Are you in the state of Texas and looking for a knowledgeable loan advisor that will walk you through the process from application to closing? Well, then you need to contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. Trinity Oaks Mortgage offers FHA, VA, and conventional loans. They also have a first-time homebuyers program available. There is also down payment assistance available as well. Make sure you contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. You can reach Joe at 972-512-8990. Are you looking for a virtual assistant who can help you with your scheduling, travel, research, and expenses? Demi Virtual Solutions is the answer for you. Demi Virtual Solutions also provides mobile notary services. They will travel to take care of your needs. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and need a virtual assistant or are looking for mobile notary services, contact them at 469-522-9005, and you can find them on their website at demivirtualsolutions.com. That's DEMI virtualsolutions.com. Please buy the new book by Arika Nicole Moore, Diabolical Tales of Woe. Diabolical Tales of Woe is a thrilling collection of short horror stories that leave you in an excited trepidation to see what will happen next. Prepare to face one horrific encounter after the next in this captivating novel. You can find this book on Amazon in the Kindle and paperback version. That is Diabolical Tales of Woe by Arika Nicole Moore.
More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services offers individual and relationship counseling as well as mediation services to the community. At More Grace, healthy partnerships are valuable and beneficial. Please visit the website www.moregracecounseling.com for more information about our approach to counseling. More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services, where we offer more grace and more healing.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on the no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please subscribe to the show. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, and make sure you tell your friends and family all about the Man Listen Show. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Man Listen Show. And make sure you click on our Patreon and donate to the show so we can keep giving you good content. I'm your host, Marv B. Let me go ahead and bring in the crew. All right, y'all, 2020 election. The day after November 3rd, and we still do not have an answer on who's going to be the next president of the United States. Currently speaking, Joe Biden has a lead in the electoral vote count. Right now, he's at 253. So he needs 17 to make it to 270. We need 270 in order to win the Electoral College. There is a path for him to win pretty easily if he can bring home Arizona and Nevada. But there is also a mathematical path for the current president, Donald Trump, to win the presidency and continue his reign in terror over the United States. It hasn't been since Bush versus Gore since, we haven't had an answer on who's going to be the president on the night of election, on election night. So it's kind of intriguing, man, just to watch how this all plays out, because I don't know about y'all, but I like watching CNN's John King with a little wall and how he's counting the counties and all that different stuff. And, you know, it's looking promising for those who want Joe Biden to be president. What was y'all's thoughts, man? You know, going into last night, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit skeptical. I was thinking like, man, this is looking suspicious. You know, I'm having that feeling, you know, back 4 years ago when Trump was, you know, just taking county after county, state after state. So what was y'all feelings? You know, I started having those, you know, those funny feelings like I did 4 years ago when everybody was expecting, you know, Hillary to take Wisconsin. They was expecting her to take, you know, Michigan, that blue wall that the Democrats have, and it kept going more and more red. I was having that feeling, but then, you know, some people was telling me, hey man, just go ahead and relax, because this election has been unlike any other with all the mail-ins, the absentee ballots because of COVID-19. But I was a little bit worried, man, you know, going to bed, you know, because I wasn't going to stay up all night. What was y'all thoughts? How was y'all feeling last night when we didn't have an answer for the election?
I wasn't really worried about it. I mean, because it's one of those things that I can't control. So no matter how much TV I watch or how many commentators, reviews I listen to, the result is going to be the result. So I haven't let it stress me, probably just because I already got too much on my plate anyway. It's just not high on my list of priorities right now. But I hope that Biden pulls it out. I hope that, you know, with the current trajectory that he does take Nevada and Arizona, and they said that there's like a less than 1% on Georgia, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I didn't toss and turn, but I was really more so concerned about my people, because I know a lot of people who are like really, really stressed out about this. And I'm not going to sit here and be all tough and brave and say I wasn't worried about like 4 more years with this fool and what he can do, because, you know, with him being, you know, basically, hey, I got 4 years to do whatever I want to do, and just him being unhinged with power and nobody really willing to step up and stop him, that is a bad thing for all of us. But, you know, like you said, it's nothing I can control. I did my part. I voted, and that was it. So, yeah. Lab scene, what was your thoughts?
Pretty much the same as Erika. This is probably the election that I watched the least. I saw like bits and pieces of it, only in between flipping between recorded shows. Typically on election night, I'm like, you know, glued to the TV. I'm listening to what everybody's saying, both sides. You know, I'm looking to see in what states they've won. This one is just kind of like, I mean, like you said, I don't want to listen to Trump for another 4 years and don't want to see him. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too emotionally involved in this election.
I didn't watch a lot, probably because I cut the cable. You know what I'm saying? I cut the cord, so I ain't got cable like I used to. So I was just you know, watching. I was watching it on my phone, like, you know, going to like the Washington Post, just seeing, you know, different counts come in. But yeah, normally it's a big thing when I'm watching TV all night. You know,
right.
So yeah, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even watching it typically, even if I don't really, you know what I'm saying, I'm not so much emotionally invested in who wins, but even just to have conversations like the following day or the upcoming weeks. And this one, like, I'm just kind of over the conversations about those two.
Yeah, it's been draining. It's been taxing because, especially, and we'll get into a little bit later, all the, I'll call it infighting in the Black community, you know, with the different, you know, whack rappers endorsing, you know, Donald Trump, and how that led to, you know, Black men, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's really kind of got exhausting, you know, and I'm sick of it. I'll be glad we'll be able to move on. But before we go on to that, Lab, what was your thoughts, man?
I think I was right in line with all you guys. Last night, I didn't watch a single bit of it. I had voted early 3 weeks ago. I at that point, that's all I can do once the election day came. So I was like, just so I won't stress out or anything, I didn't watch anything. Actually, we actually had like a movie night and just watched a couple movies, you know, popping popcorn, whatever. But interestingly enough, so I went to bed, and man, I'm not gonna lie, I could not sleep. I tossed and turned all night long. And I kept saying, man, I'm not looking at them. I'm not gonna get my phone. I'm not gonna look at my phone. And I didn't, but I was tossing and turning all night. And it was, I don't know. Michigan was on my mind heavy. I don't know why, but I was just kind of like you said before. We thought Hillary was going to go ahead and take Michigan. Michigan's right for us, and I don't know. It was just on my mind a lot. I didn't sleep well at all last night, but I still didn't look till this morning, and I started reading stuff and getting caught up. And I was like, okay, maybe it was much ado about nothing. I'm we'll see how it plays out in the courts, I guess.
Yeah, and to your point, Trump's already said they're gonna fight a lot of the different elections, through the courts. And surprisingly, I've seen a lot of Republican pundits say that, man, you in these recounts, it may not be. You need to just go ahead and take your L. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was encouraged by that because I thought,
Yep.
because they don't give up. They don't give a damn about what rule we got to bend or what corner we got to cut to keep in power. So for them to say that, but they already really got what they wanted though. They got 3 Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
They got and they stacked the federal court. So they can get this idiot out of there. They pretty much got what they wanted.
Yeah,
exactly. Stood out to me. Go ahead, bro. What you gonna say?
No, I said exactly. You're right. They got everything that they needed.
Yeah, a few things stood out to me. The first thing was Florida. Now, everybody talks about how much Florida sucks. I mean, I love the beach. I love Miami, but the Latinos in Florida and what they did helping to get this fool Florida. Y'all know me. I'm blackity black. This is the blackest radio show on the internet. I don't do that. People of color. I don't do that Black and Brown Alliance. And I was so glad that the people who continue to say that, they had to learn that lesson the hard way. We are all we got. And, when you look at, and I don't want to generalize too much when we talk about, but, when you look at the exit polls and you see the percentages of how the Latino vote, how it went for Trump, I think it's really, really evident that we all we got, and that we really need to put to bed this whole Black and Brown Alliance type of thing, this whole Black and Brown Alliance idea. What do y'all think?
I disagree. The only reason, so I agree with part of what you're saying. Like, I do feel like as Black people, we're all we got, but I also feel like, the same way, you and I, we've, both, took on the term that, they have coined for us, the American, descendants of slaves. The same reason why if they line me up next to a Nigerian, next to, other countries, we're not all the same people. We got to remember that's the same thing with Latinos, though. When people talk about like the Black and Brown Alliance, they're more thinking of like, your Mexicans. Like, I have family members. I have lots of friends in California, and just my experience has been different. And so when we start talking about like Florida, we're talking about, what is his name? Mark Rubio or something. I mean, if you look him up, he's white. And, most of those white, Spaniards and Cubans, they're white. So those are the people. And I'm not saying that there's not any Mexicans, you know what I'm saying, that are barely legal, that are voting for Trump. Just like, there's a lot of Black people that are voting for Trump. But I think as a whole, I think brown can't be, like, we can't group all Latinos into brown people the same way we can't group everybody that looks like all 4 of us into Black people. I think that's the difference. Now, should we focus on that alliance? Probably not. I mean, I think, like you said, like, we all we got. We got to depend on us. But I don't think it's worth spending much time trying to fight the whole Black and brown thing. And I hear a lot of people like, oh, Tupac said this, and I don't understand why he says it. And Nip says this, and LA is different. There's a lot of beef between Mexicans and Black people in LA as far as fighting over neighborhoods, but for the most part, they get along differently than they do in Florida and Miami. But it's because those Latinos are different in Florida than they are in Miami. Mark Rubio, I don't know if he's Cuban or if he's a Spaniard, whatever he is, but he's white. And most of those Latinos down there in Florida that are Trump supporters are white.
I would have to agree with that because the Hispanics that I know that support Trump, they look white to me too. And then the ones that I know that don't are, browner skin and stuff. So, I mean, I agree you can't lump them all into the same category, but I also agree that as far as the alliance goes, we really have to try to align what our goals are and then align with people who have similar goals, and that we all we got. When we start talking about we only want reparations for us, we don't need other people in the lines being like, what about us? No, this ain't you. This ain't about you. So I think that, we need to be clear about who we fighting for, because when it comes down to it, we fighting for, like we said, descendants of slaves.
Well, I mean, I see the point that you all are trying to make, but I definitely feel that it is a regional thing. It's a regional thing. So when you look at Florida and you look at the Cubans in Miami and you look at why they are in Miami, they left Cuba because they said, no, you can't, you basically can't be racist over here. So they came over to Miami and, they just brought that mindset over to, to the United States through that. I definitely living in Texas, you definitely see Mexican Americans who have been here for a good while who are voting for Trump. They have no sympathy for the immigrants that come over. If you talk to them, they will say, hey, listen, I came over here legally, why can't they? And that's their mindset. And it's not just a select few. It's not. There's more than a select few. Now, if you go to the East Coast, could there be some solidarity between our Puerto Rican brothers, Dominicans, maybe in LA? But when you look at LA, you see brothers and Mexicans, at odds all the time. And that may be a more of a gang thing, maybe a prison thing. But I do think it is somewhat naive to continue to try to say black and brown, black and brown, black and brown, because at the end of the day, Black people are the ones who eat the failure for America. Everything that we do, everything that we suffer, it's all on us, and we don't get any of the reward. We don't. So when you see, these different political parties targeting this demographic, the Latino, the Hispanic demographic, and then 35% of them don't even vote for you. But you have candidates who say, am I going to do anything just for the Black community, and saying no? I got a problem with that. And I just think this whole, the browning of America, people of color, all that stuff, man, they're terms that don't fly with me at all. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who eat the failure. We are the ones that take all the L's so everybody else can come in here and open their stores and do everything to build their community. So by keeping saying black and brown, I got a problem with it. And I'm glad that people got to see that it's not really something that we really need to be pushing. We need to be all about us. That's what because that's what they do. That's what they do. They line up with us when it's advantageous for them, and then when it's not, what do? Oh, I'm Mexican. I'm doing it. I'm whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, and then what are we? Still in the ghetto? No, I'm not part at all.
But I'm questioning though, like, where did that even come from? Because if you look at past elections, we should have known by now.
I've been said it because
you know what I mean. So if we
they don't even show up to vote, they don't even show up to vote.
Just now realizing it, that's on us. If we just now realizing that, that's on us. We should have been knowing that they wasn't riding with us. Because honestly, of course, this is just exit polling, but the same number of people that voted for Trump in their community last time is the same exact same number, 66%. Yeah. Same exact number. So they didn't get more Trump voters. It's the same. We should have understood that.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of the same, what about white women? Did you see how they was targeting, how people thought that we was going to play on their sympathy and say, hey, have you seen how bad this guy is and how bad he talked about white women? And what did they do? They voted right alongside their husbands. They voted right alongside their fathers and their sons. So, I mean, they are, what did Herm Edwards say? Was it Herm Edwards or was it
Dennis Green? They are who we thought we are.
Green say, they are who we thought we are. We let them off the hook.
They let them off the hook.
Yeah. Man, so what y'all think about that? I mean, you know me. You know my thoughts about
right. Nah, you're right. You're right though, man. They definitely that old song "Stand by Your Man," that old country song that was bumping all day for them yesterday, I guess. But I had an interesting conversation with some friends about this whole, in the Black Lives Matter protests were going on, George Floyd, all that stuff, and how all of a sudden white women hijacked it, and that's been talked about. And I said, man, that's all they do. If you look historically, they never stood on their own. They've always tried to attach themselves to a movement to further their cause. And so no matter what it was, so I mean, just historically. And so they figured that they were getting pushback, probably in my mind, from the black people, like, hey man, don't be trying to take over our movement. And they were like, well, I guess we'll go home now. They thought they could go become independent and go out on their own, try to be like these strong black women who were out there leading the way. They thought they could do that, and they realized that, hey, nobody respects us like that. We got to go home to our man. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, because the one thing, and I'll give him his props, I don't rock with him because he said, he's trying to tell people not to vote. But the one thing about that Tariq Nasheed said was that it's really only black people who are sitting there taking pictures with their I vote stickers and I did all this and I voted. What about you? Vote or die. Everybody else real quiet about their stuff. They real quiet. And the white women, you saw the last time, they was real quiet. They stood up they voted for Trump, and then a few weeks later they were talking about the women's march. Don't control my uterus. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'm not with it, man. We all we got. So
well, and the reason we take pictures though is because we dealt with the most voter suppression. Look how long it took us when we had to go through the vote. So I think that's why a lot of people take pictures. It's almost like shout out to the ancestors. A lot of people are still living who had to fight to vote.
Man,
I mean, both of my parents were born not full citizens. They couldn't vote when they were born.
Yeah.
So my parents were born in Jim Crow, so yeah, I get that. And I also think there's so much disenchantment with the system, with black people, that it's incumbent upon us to try to motivate people to vote. Because, like we said on the last show, there's plenty of black people. If you go to our neighborhoods, not us who live in the suburbs like y'all rich Negroes, but you go to the neighborhoods where people are not doing as well, I personally can see why they'd be like, what difference does it make? What difference does it make if I vote or not? Because my hood was messed up under Obama. It was messed up under Clinton. It's messed up under Bush. It's messed up under Trump. What difference does it make? So
I live in the city, but yeah, go ahead.
They got to vote locally, though. We talked about that I think on the last show or maybe the one before that.
Yeah, there's always something to vote about. There's always something to vote for, especially locally. Yeah, for real.
I think my vote never counts, and that is frustrating. Like never. My vote has never counted.
I think about that too, because especially on a national election where I live in the city, and it's when you look at our state, it's it's all red, and it's two blue circles on each side and a smaller blue circle in the middle. Everything else just straight red, man. I mean, the state house is all red. It's very few Democrats in the state house. So getting things pushed through on the state level is tough as well. So that kind of factors in as well, especially if you look at those maps of the Midwest, and you'll see, Ohio. I was like, how is Ohio red when you got Cincinnati, you got Cleveland, you got Toledo, you got Dayton, but everybody outside of those cities is like 85% voting the other way. And it does. I can see where it could, like you said, make people be like, what's the use of voting?
And you're sleeping on the white folks that live in the city by you, who bumping Tupac, they're still voting Trump.
Well,
in KC proper, it was like 80%, and St. Louis City too. I know 80%, 80-20. Other parts of Jackson County was 50-50. So yeah,
but it's the same with here in Texas. I live in Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you look at Dallas-Fort Worth, you look at Houston, Harris County. I think El Paso voted strong for Biden, but Austin, and I didn't hear about Bexar County, which is San Antonio. But when you just talk about those pockets right there, Texas is a massive state.
Right.
As soon as you leave outside of Dallas-Fort Worth, you're in Trump country.
Yep.
You see the flag, you see the Confederate flag. So, Yeah, like Enrique said, man, my vote ain't counted. I don't think my whole life because I've always been in the first place.
But see,
Come,
and
yeah.
the other thing about that, we had on the ballot, we had already voted on something in Missouri, and then they put it back on the ballot and wrapped it in different wrapping paper, and
Yep.
then people passed it. And it's like, that has to do with the redistricting. And that's part of the reason why our
Gerrymandering,
state
yeah.
can't be fairly decided, because the way they've got us district off, there's so many Republican areas, as opposed to like, why isn't St. Louis and Kansas City getting more representatives in the House?
Right.
You know, why don't we have more of a balance of the Democrats and Republicans? And it's like, people don't know enough about gerrymandering, redistricting, who gets representatives, who gets electoral college votes. People don't know enough about those little details that are killing us, like for the most part, because it's not fair, but they don't even understand how it's not fair. So
Well, that's where
that's totally
that's where the Democrats slept at the wheel when Obama won, because when he won, you know, everybody was motivated. I think he even took like Obama took some red states, I believe. I think he did. Can't remember which one was that. North Carolina.
Ohio. I think
Yeah,
Ohio.
he took Ohio. But there's this book, I've talked about it before, called Dark Money, when they talked about the Koch brothers and how they invested into the American political system, and how when the Supreme Court allowed unlimited money being able to interject into these political campaigns, their strategy was to take over the state houses. So they wanted all the governors, they wanted all the state representative positions. So they invested money in that. And that, Enrique, is how they started doing the redistricting, where it was just like, this don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got all these black people in this certain area, we'll just say St. Louis. So we'll just lump all y'all Negroes into one district. When really y'all should probably be about 3 or 4 districts.
Exactly.
That way we basically nullified your vote. So
Yep.
it's that type of strategy, it's that type of what's what I'm looking for? Deviousness. Is that a word, deviousness?
It is now. I mean,
right. I don't know. I was thinking conniving, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's that type of strategy, that type of conniving thinking that the Democrats just, they don't have that in them. You know what I mean? They just don't have it in
that's
them
true.
because it's too late.
You kind of got to be now.
Or do they? Or do they?
Right. they I don't think that they do, honestly.
I mean, you can't tell me that this white Democrat is all nice and holy as opposed to this white Republican. They got the same tendencies, they got the same strategies. They
But
just
as a
not doing
party,
it.
as a party,
I mean, you're right. I mean, they really argue with each other just, you know, to make a commercial here and there, but then they all go to lunch and hang out together right after that.
Yes.
But the Democrats still, like, they still are just like, they sit back and wait too much.
They're sneaky though.
they're scared.
I think
Democrats
they be moving, but they move more sneakily. Is that a word? We're just making up words
we
today.
making up words
Yeah,
today.
we
We making up ballots. We making up words.
Yeah. See, but that's what I said about the last election, because I felt like Hillary and Trump are the same people. They cool. So the only difference is Hillary's gonna lull us to sleep, because like when Obama got in and didn't do nothing for us, I was like, at least if Trump get in, maybe he'll fire us up and we'll do some stuff for ourselves and stop waiting for, you know,
Really though,
Democrats to come save us.
I sent, yesterday I said I didn't really watch anything. The only thing I did was in the morning, I sent it. I got 2 different group texts I be in, and I sent them everybody the same text that, hey, regardless of what happens, we still got to move. We got to fight no matter who's in office. This is our time right now. So if it's Biden, then hey, when 87% of black people vote for you, and Detroit gonna bail you out, Philadelphia gonna bail you out, the black people in Atlanta could bail you out, the black people in Vegas gonna bail you out. Hey, you got, what's up? You got to bring it to the table. Maybe Cuba will go to him now. We'll see.
He said he'll talk to him about it after the election.
Yeah.
But I hope that we learn our lesson though, because we voted en masse for Obama, and then we didn't really hold him accountable, and nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to talk about how, some people do. You hear some elected officials, you hear some pundits say, yeah, we probably should have held him more accountable.
Definitely more accountable. But he did little micro things though to help. But it was no grand gestures.
That's y'all's forever president.
Huh?
That's y'all's forever president. Can't talk bad about Obama.
That's all you gonna get.
I mean, Barry got a nice little jump shot though. You saw him, he got out there and he hit his little jump shot talking about that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? He's good for that. You know what I'm saying? He good for that. You know what I'm saying? He done got some swag from Michelle in Chicago.
Singing Boys to Men,
yeah. But honestly, honestly, I want especially all these black folks who were talking about black men ain't nothing. Black men let us down. Black men. Listen, man, 83%. I think I saw when it said 17% of black men voted for Trump. And surprisingly, 8% of black women. I don't know how true this poll was, but it said from the last election it went from 4 to 8 of black women. So they basically doubled, right? But still in my mind, what'd you say?
They got white husbands.
Probably. Or they're not, probably what it was, they're not ADOS. No, people don't want to talk about that. They just lumping them all in with us.
No, I said that when people were talking about
immigrants.
I said that.
Because
I said that on Facebook yesterday when people were talking about the black men. I was like, yeah, but again, let's define black men first.
Where they from?
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tell you like this though. Again, like you said, I don't, the Democrats have shown us the last 2 cycles. Definitely, you can't trust their polling data. We don't know. I don't know how they do the polls, but
because who they asking?
The exit polls, they said that Trump actually increased his percentages in every last single demographic except for white men.
Yeah, he went down with white men.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. That's what I was trying to tell y'all earlier.
That's crazy.
People don't be talking about their vote. They probably like, nah, because they know there's really no justifying vote.
Yeah.
There's no justification other than I want to maintain my status as a white person in the country. I want to maintain white supremacy. I want to maintain systemic racism, and I can't do that and still have my kid play next to his black friend on the football team. I can't do that. I can't really justify that. So I'm gonna be hush about it and go ahead and go into the booth and do what I got to do for my people. That's what they do. But back to what I was trying to say. All these people who were dogging out black men, talking about black men are killing. 83% of black men voted for Biden. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, that's still an overwhelming majority.
Ridiculous.
For anybody. That's
anybody.
Nobody else votes like that.
No, man. I was just about to say, you look like we talking about the Latinx, the Asians, the white people. They fluctuate, right?
Yeah.
From cycle to cycle. Black people's always going to be 85 to 90% in the way of the Democrats, man. And man, yeah, we really ain't got nothing to show for it, man. We really have not been able to reap that benefit.
Not a damn
thing.
So
what people will say is this, and we talked about, okay, and Rika said Hillary and Trump are the same. So had we got Hillary in, we probably would have had Supreme Court justices who probably wouldn't be going against reproductive rights and the voting rights and all that stuff. I can concede that. Y'all tell me if y'all disagree. I can concede that right there. But in terms of making a difference with tangible stuff that affects our day-to-day life, I didn't see much happening. So
not yours.
And not mine. Yeah, not mine. But I don't think about it. I don't vote just for me though.
Right. No, but I mean,
because to be honest with you, and probably y'all too, to be honest with you, Trump being in office really didn't hurt my pockets.
Yeah, but we're gonna edit that part.
No, you can leave it in because it's true.
No, it's true.
I'm like you. I'm still not voting because
Trump being in office didn't hurt me. It didn't.
It didn't hurt me either. But I mean,
financially.
But my point I'm trying to make is him being in office, it didn't negatively impact my life other than I got tired of seeing his idiotic ass on the TV. And I got tired of seeing white mediocrity being at the head of this government. That pissed me off to the 10th degree. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why it bothered me. But I don't vote just for me. I vote for all black people and how their condition is. And I know there's plenty of bougie people who don't think that way. And I do.
I agree.
He's just not smart. But then watching them two debate, it was like Dumb and Dumber and grumpier old men. It's
Joe looking
ridiculous.
old, man.
That's another thing, man. Is
Joe looking old. Joe looking old. I saw his little speech today.
yeah,
Talking about, hey, I think we got his path to the electoral college and the win. And it sounded like he was kind of from the Joe I saw back from Obama, who was sharp and on point. Man, dude kind of slurring his words. And I'm like, man, Joe looking old, man.
I mean, he probably had a party last night though.
Stop it. I think you should be like 45 to 65 to be
Yeah,
president.
Yeah, you
I
gotta be
definitely think there should be a
Yep.
maximum on the
You
age.
should not be over retirement age running
Yeah.
our country. That's
Hey, I
ridiculous.
making
think that way
decisions for all these
Retire.
Supreme
people.
Court too. I think that way about the Supreme Court.
Same,
There should be
same.
term limits for the
And there
Supreme
needs
Court.
to be term limits.
Yeah.
Why aren't
It
there
does-
term limits?
Yeah.
So the point of not having term limits for the Supreme Court is to stop them being able to be influenced by outside sources. So because they can be fired, you can't be like, all right, I'm gonna get you fired or you're not gonna get reelected. Then that's supposed to put them above influence from outside sources. So I get that. But
So I get that, but what about like
your
the
ass
House
shouldn't be
and Senate?
dying on the damn bench.
Man,
You shouldn't be over here asking you to read legal briefs while you on your deathbed or your cancer
Yep.
bed.
Hey,
You should be
exactly.
required to
so,
leave.
Can I say this? Why didn't Ruth Bader Ginsburg retire while Obama was in office? She knew she didn't have long.
That's my point. They
That's a
should be
good point.
required to
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah, she should have
a good
retired.
point.
You know
She
what I'm
wanted to be the longest person on the Supreme Court. It was
saying? Had this
very
woman
hypocritical.
trying to go to work every day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, she was
That's
still
what I'm
going.
saying. Where they
She was
going to
still
work?
going to the gym though. She was still working out every day.
Yeah.
Listen, I
Doing
don't
what?
give a damn about none of that.
Straight up, she was still going to the gym every day.
Arm curls with empty dumbbells.
Yeah,
I don't know.
dumbbells.
It's
Dang Pound
ridiculous.
Jazzercise.
Yeah. 65
Richard
or
Simmons went
severe
to the
illness
Oldies.
and you
I
should be
think
forced to
65 too.
retire.
So Erika, is that the same thing though with Senate and House representatives? I mean, well, no, I guess not, because they get elected. I'm just trying to
I
figure out
think they
why-
should all
why does
be
Kentucky-
fired.
Yeah, why does Kentucky keep re-electing The Walking Dead? Like, what's wrong with that state?
They see that dude.
They not smart.
Yeah,
People
are
stupid.
Huh?
You didn't see Mitch McConnell's hands?
That's
It
why
look
it's
like
called him The
Mark.
Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Listen,
But why do they keep to me, like, there's you
people
gotta
are
be,
not
like,
smart.
3 times, that's it. Like, why does he's been
It
around?
shouldn't even be 3 times. It should be 2 times. You
I'm
go to
with that.
Congress and do what you need to do. There are people who have favors built up from the 60s.
Yeah.
Y'all, Congress should not be a bunch of damn millionaires.
Yep.
Like, that's ridiculous. And then you making decisions for people who are living less than paycheck to paycheck and you're a millionaire. You don't know anything about what the people need. And
But
you've been in it
Kentucky keeps re-electing them. They're like at the bottom in every category, like
because
bottom
they're
10.
stupid.
It's
And
the
they
same.
keep
People are
re-electing them.
stupid.
It's the same way in every. I'm not gonna say every state, but most of the states in the southern half of the country.
Louisiana, Mississippi.
Yeah, exactly. They're
You put
financially. They're
all the I hate black people states. Well, all of them I hate black people, but the
Yeah.
really I hate
You
all black
buffer.
people states.
But it
I
is
don't like it
those-
down there.
They're doing the worst, but they keep like re-electing the same people. It's almost like
As long as they think they are doing better than you.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Fine with it.
Yep.
Exactly.
yeah.
As long as they say, you know what, I could go down the street and shoot up a church and they'll buy me Burger King. Whereas I come out and I got a phone in my hand and I'm gonna get shot, they are fine with that. They fine with that. That's it.
Man, imagine if that was black people in Detroit talking about stop the count, banging on the windows of the elector's office today. I
Like,
guarantee
hey,
you.
did you see where they had the black policeman there? I
Yeah,
like
he was
that.
just
I was
standing-
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, imagine if that was black people who went out to suburban Cincinnati or something, someplace like that in the suburbs where they're counting their votes, and it was all black people, not from those districts, that came in and said that. Guarantee you wouldn't have went down like that.
No, they'd have been in jail.
Yeah.
They'd have
easy.
bringing buses. And you see how they was chanting all off beat? I'm like, how you can't even coordinate it. One arm was doing this, the other one was doing this. And I was like, come on now.
Get it together. Did y'all
Yeah.
hear that CNN commentator talking about well, it's not like they're boarding up the businesses because they're worried about Trump supporters. basically trying to make
Rick,
it seem
Rick,
like,
Rick Santorum's idiot self. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So basically what they were talking about the political, how divided the country was. And
Mhm.
Santorum was like, why do you think they're boarding up the buildings in New York? It ain't because of Republicans. And then Anderson, what's that boy's name?
Cooper.
Anderson
Anderson
Cooper was
Cooper,
like,
that's my boo.
Anderson
Yeah.
Cooper was like, yeah, but he didn't want nothing to do with you. But
I know. And I don't really want anything to do with him. I just
One
love
of the
him for some reason.
Vanderbilts. Yeah.
yeah. But you know what's funny? I remember when Anderson Cooper came out that he was gay on TV, and I promise you, I ain't trying to be funny, but I was like, no, I thought that boy Ben came out that he was gay. I thought
Right.
everybody.
I was like, that was a surprise.
That's most people.
Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Most
Anderson
people
talked
don't.
about it was talking about how the Trumpers was basically blocking off one of the bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did do that.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think it was Jersey, wasn't it? Was that New Jersey? Or
That was
New York?
Jersey.
Hey, but you know what? They got real bold with these Trump flags, whatever. And I ain't gonna lie to you. Whenever I see them, they get the finger from me because I think you cowards anyway. Honestly,
Yeah.
I ain't worried about no dang Trump.
We'll see what happens to them flags come January.
Right.
They
Listen,
still flying.
my daughter refused to trick or treat at houses that had Trump signs in the yard.
Hey,
Hey,
I was
I
like,
agree. You never know what
she's
can be in
like,
her candy.
yeah, she said, I don't
Right.
trust them.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, well, go
There's dude
ahead.
around the corner. We got a pretty diverse neighborhood. It's getting more and more black. But he always had his little Trump sign in his yard. He had his Ted Cruz sign in his yard. And Trump must have did something. Either Trump did something or he got tired of us black folks driving past him because he would try to wave and we'd be like, we give him whatever, man. He took his signs down. I ain't seen his signs this whole election cycle. But
Yeah.
I walked past his house today. He had the big red, white, and blue flag up. You know what I mean? So I guess maybe Trump pissed him off, or maybe he got tired of people looking at him crazy. But
Okay.
so I had a neighbor that did that right after the first debate. It came down and came up, and I haven't seen him since then. I haven't seen the sign since then. I've seen him, the neighbor, but
Right.
No, don't be embarrassed now.
yeah, that's what I said.
You knew
So
he couldn't read and write.
He been saying crazy stuff for 4 years.
yeah. So it
20
looks like
years.
the Democrats won't get the Senate, and it looks like they still maintain control of the House. And right now, it's trending positive for Biden. When I looked at the numbers, it's trending positive for him in Arizona and in Nevada. If he gets those two states right there, it's pretty much a wrap. He doesn't necessarily need North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or Georgia. I really would like to see Georgia turn blue. I really
Me
would
too.
like to see Georgia turn blue. You know what I'm saying? Because as much as they have stolen from those people down there, especially that last election that they stole from Stacey Abrams,
Yeah.
I really would like to see black people get a win down in Georgia. But we'll probably talk about this again. I got one of my homeboys who's a political science major. Bring him onto the show so we can talk about, once things are said and done, what's that mean for the country? And then we'll talk about what's next for us. Because either way, whether it's Trump in office, whether it's Biden in office, we got to have a plan. We got to have a plan to hold them accountable. And especially if it's Biden and Kamala, we need to have a plan to hold them accountable, to try to get something from them to improve our condition as a community. You got to have an ask. And, I heard a lot from people saying, okay, well, you guys said Obama didn't do that. What did you expect him to do? Now's the time for us to start putting that together. Because honestly, like Lab said, one for them brothers and sisters in Detroit, Milwaukee, and if he gets Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, there wouldn't be no Biden-Harris VP and Vice President and VP. Can't get my words right. So, we definitely need to start thinking about that. Y'all got anything else about this y'all want to talk about?
Nah, it would be nice to see a black woman in the office. Well, either way, I got to go to work tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Well, the only people probably more excited about Biden and Harris winning is the T-shirt man, because you know they already got them comments already printed up. You know what I'm saying?
The AKAs.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be slanging them joints. They're gonna be at the inauguration. The T-shirt man gonna come up with Kamala
Man.
there, boy. Yeah, for sure.
I remember when everybody had those Obama T-shirts when he won the first time.
I still got 2 of them. I wear them around the house all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had an OJ T-shirt when he was on trial.
Yes, the level of petty that I strive for in life.
We love you, OJ. I had an OJ T-shirt.
Let the juice loose.
Let the juice loose.
Man, he be on Twitter so freely, doesn't he? Like
OJ be
Man.
tripping, dog.
I love him
I
on
don't-
Twitter, man. I love him on Twitter.
I don't think old people should be allowed on Twitter, especially Trump.
Especially Trump.
yeah, he shouldn't be allowed on anything. And that's the only thing I'm really worried about. If he loses, like what's he gonna do to like, incite like not really riots, but just like,
What you mean, stand by and stand back and stand by or some shit?
yeah,
he gonna do
that was
something.
kind of subliminal. I just feel like he's gonna like
I'm not
initiate.
even sure he's smart enough to do subliminal.
But
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I think I kind of people say he's not smart, but I think he's sly like a fox. Because if you watch him, how he'll keep repeating like words over and over again. I think it's cheating. I think it's cheating. It's cheating. It's a whole lot of cheating going on. It's cheating. It's cheating. It's cheating. And for us, we just like, dude, man, like expand your vocabulary. But for the idiots that vote for him, it's it's psychological.
Mhm.
They stole the election. They cheated. Nah, that's not what happened. So,
Like how? That's unsubstantiated. They don't care.
right.
Yeah.
He's
They don't need
definitely-
facts or logic.
He may not be smart, but he's definitely a master manipulator. I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
cunning. He's cunning.
Yeah, he is.
Definitely.
So today, it's funny you say that about stealing the election. I was out in mid-Missouri, middle of nowhere. So my channels, my radio station, I couldn't get the KC channels. So I'm turning through and I hear Rush Limbaugh. First thing he says
Phil
is,
Popper extreme. Mr.
man,
Phil
they're
Popper.
going to steal this election. They're going to steal this election. Yes, we all know.
Oh, it's like you stole pills, Rush. Yeah.
Man. But I was like, wow, I guess there's a lot of people that really, really think that something illegal happened because you sent in a ballot through the mail.
Only if it's gonna lean blue. That's
That's
I
it.
feel like they was trying to trick me. I started getting ballots at my daddy's house in Atlanta. I'm like, I ain't never lived here, and I ain't been living in Atlanta for like years, since like 2011. So why all of a sudden this year I'm getting mail?
Right. I
To
was getting
vote.
text
You
messages
locked
from
up
3
like
different cities.
Akon. You know, they had a lady
I
vote
was like,
address.
Uh,
Yeah, they had you messed up. But anyway, I think we talked about it enough.
Yes.
Family, make sure you subscribe to the show. Make sure you give us the thumbs up. Make sure you share the show with everybody. We're trying to grow our listeners. Right now, we're just over about 100 followers. Let's get this up to 200. I think we could do that. Make sure you click our Patreon, donate to the show, and make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Man Listen Show. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
peace.
Donald Trump, you're fired.
Be laugh, be thinking about them joints.
Man, he do too.